These are my predictions for the 2026 tennis season. Today we're going to go through my predictions for the year based off last year's season and also the things I would like to see if possible. Now I know they're not likely, hence they're going to be my wishes, but we'll talk about what I think is going to happen first, then what I want to happen. You know, mix in between little things. And I want to hear from you guys too. So if you want to comment down below what you think is going to happen and what you want to happen. We'll start with ATP and we'll start with ATP Grand Slams. And this is going to be the big talk for the year. Who's going to win all 4 Grand Slams? Or not all 4, sorry. Who's going to win each Grand Slam? Is it going to be Sinner Alcaraz? Is it going to be someone new like a Fonseca or a Draper maybe? Well, I think that we're going to see a slight change. I still think Alcaraz will win a Grand Slam. If I had to guess one of them, I would go probably Roland Garros. Roland Garros is probably the one I would go with. And then I think Sinner is going to sweep the rest. I think he's going to win Australian Open because he's dominant there. He was dominant at Wimbledon. I don't see that changing. And then I think he'll also win US Open, which I don't think he's done before, but I might be wrong. No, I think he has. I'm lying, never mind. It's Alcaraz that hasn't won Australian Open and Sinner hasn't won Roland Garros. I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a 3-1 to Sinner because last year he did kind of dominate, even though he was out for a bit because the whole thing we won't talk about. But yes, I think Sinner will go 3-1 in Grand Slams. Now, as for the women's, I'm not quite as up to date with the women's tour. I watched like a few matches like Swiatek or Sabalenka or Goff or one of them playing, but I'm not like fully up to date. And it's also just way more up in the air. Like you can see anyone win a Grand Slam. Like when Madison Keys won a Grand Slam, no one was betting on that. It's very more open-ended. There's not like a too dominant Sinner and Alcaraz type. But I think that if I'm going off my knowledge, which I might be completely wrong, and if I am, let me know. I'm going to go with Sabalenka. So obviously he's going to win at least one. I think she'll win both hard courts. I think she's dominant on hard court. I think that Iga will go back-to-back Wimbledon, which I know actually probably isn't actually expected, but I think she loves the towels too much to not win again. And for Roland Garros, I'm going to go with Iga as well. So I'm going a 2-2 split, which I know sounds like dominant. Where's the Goffs, where's the, the Keys, all them. But I don't know, it's just what I might be a bit lean towards just because I like Swiatek and Sabalenka, but I also do like the other ones. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's what I think. I think the hard courts will be dominated by Sabalenka, and I think that the other surfaces will be dominated by Swiatek. And if that does happen, that will be an interesting dynamic to see because that means it'll be more like the men's tour where there is 2 dominant forces. And I might be completely wrong. They might not win a single one, and I still wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, to be honest, because that's what the women's tour is like. Anyone can win, it feels like, which is kind of exciting. But I do actually still love the Sinner Alcaraz thing. I'm not one of the guys who doesn't like the fact that Sinner Alcaraz are too good. It's awesome. Now, I'm not going to talk about each Masters Affairs and who's going to win each tournament, who's going to win each 500, each 250, but I will talk about who I think is going to have who's going to have a breakout year, who's going to win their first Masters Affairs or win another one and stuff like that. So I'm going to mention a few names who I think will possibly reach that level. I think that Draper will come back and win another Masters Affairs. I think that. And I'll also just mention certain things that I think will happen during the season. I think that Djokovic will have a deep run in a slam, obviously. I think he'll also have an early exit in a slam, a surprising one. I think Fonseca is going to win a big tournament, maybe a Masters 1000, maybe. I think Daniel Medvedev is going to have a good season this year. I feel like he's on the slow comeback. I think he's doing really well. Not sure on Tsitsipas. I know he just switched from Wilson to Babolat, I'm pretty sure. I can also confidently predict that Zverev is not going to win a Grand Slam. And if he does, he can come back to this moment right here, but I don't think he will. I don't have many predictions for the women's tour, like I said, I'm not as up to date, so I don't want to make any outrageous predictions. But I'm just going to hope that Emma Raducanu makes some sort of comeback into form because British tennis and you got to look out for your Brits. Now we're going to talk about what I would like to happen. And to be honest, obviously I would like all British players, male and female, to do well because I am British and that is what you hope for. But I especially hope Draper comes back and is in form. And I'm kind of hoping he can make another deep run at a slam, maybe even knock on the door for one, because he was playing just so good before he got injured and now it's just a shame. That's my biggest hope for the year. And also another player I'm really hoping does well again is Dimitrov, because he was playing some unreal tennis before he got injured. And I've always loved Dimitrov as a Federer fan. Dimitrov is obviously one of my favorites as well. Yeah, Draper, Dimitrov, I want to do really well. I still like Sinner, so I can't lie. I want him to do well. I want Alcaraz to do well. I want all of them to do well. But my favourite ones I want to do well are the Drapers, the Dimitrovs, and I also want to see Alex de Minaur get a big win because I feel like he's very underappreciated. Like he always does really well in tournaments. He just doesn't seem to like normally get that final big win. So I'd also like to see him get a big win. And on the women's tour, as I said, I want Raducanu to get back into form, and I want Swiatek to do well because I just like watching Swiatek. She's quite good. And I hope Nick Kyrgios doesn't join the WTA and destroy them all. As for rankings, I think that the world end number 1 will be Sinner. I think the world end number 1 for the women's will be Sabalenka. As I said, I think they're both going to win at least 2 Grand Slams. So they're obviously going to do well in other tournaments and stay on top. Well, I think Alcaraz is actually on top. I don't know. I should probably check that. Got that. And then I think most of the top 10 in the men's will stay the same. I can't comment on the women's, as I've said, not as up to date. I probably should have done some research. But yeah, I think I should have checked the rankings before this video, but I think by the end of the year, we'll have Sinner at the top. Alcaraz will obviously be near him. And I think we'll still have the likes of Fritz, Zverev, de Minaur, and all them in the top 10. I'm hoping Draper as well. Really hope for Draper. And because they're all just way too consistently deep runs in slams, and they do well at every tournament. Just don't see them going anywhere really. I'm also hoping for a speedy recovery for Rune. Even though I was never really sure when I watched him if I liked him or not. You never want to see a player get injured, and I always thought he was actually quite good. Those are my predictions for the 2026 tennis season. I know I mainly talked about ATP, but that's one I follow way too much. I'm sorry, WTA. I'll try and watch some more this year, because that rally, at least in Swiatek had at the United Cup, was fucking insane. Anyway, if you disagree with any of my predictions, or you don't like any of the things I want to happen, which I don't see why, everyone loves Dimitrov and Draper, then let me know in the comments. I'll probably respond to you with something stupid. And I think it was funny, and you probably won't, but that's okay. And these are just my predictions. I could be completely wrong, and there could be injuries that I haven't accounted for. And you can never count out Djokovic. I do also like Djokovic, I won't lie. Anyway, I will catch you guys in the next video, whenever the fuck that is.